and welcome to the Lottie Lady YouTube channel. I've had my plot for 1 month now, and what a month it's been. So I am down at the plot right now in a very cold wintry morning. It's roughly I think it's saying about 3 degrees. It feels a bit colder than that. I'm not sure how accurate these things are, but I quite like it. So yeah, happy 1 month anniversary to my plot. It's been great. It's been a huge learning experience, and I'm still feeling very lucky to have it after 3 years waiting, and especially with the new variant and all of the new COVID restrictions. It's just really helpful to know that worst case scenario, and we do have another lockdown, I will still have this plot, I will have my escape, and can still get that fresh air. So yeah, I mean, the last week I've not been doing as much at the allotment as I would have liked, partly because I've been busy in my own life, but also because the plot was, like a lot of places here in Nottingham, we did get snow, and the plot was completely frozen for a couple of days. It did come down, it was really pretty. I took some still pictures, but yeah, there wasn't a lot of sort of digging and preparation that I could actually do. On the note of winter allotmenting, one thing I've noticed is here on my plot, if I can, I'm stood, you can see further down, but literally since 3 occasions I've been here, I am the only one who seems to come, and I come at all different times of the day, but I never see any other plot holders. I mean, occasionally I do see a guy who has chickens who I think obviously has to come and sort those out, but other than that, nobody comes, and I think that's a real shame. I mean, I get that obviously if your plot's established and you know, you have it basically as you want it, then there isn't a lot to do this time of year in that sense. But I think, and obviously they don't have all of the struggles that I currently have trying to get this back to cultivation after being quite barren for a couple of years, but in my opinion there is always something to do. I think winter is a great time to sort of evaluate what's worked, what hasn't worked, sort out sort of any new layouts you might have, and you know, there's still the odd thing to grow. So I think it's a shame really that it seems like most of my fellow allotmenters are fair weather gardeners, but on the plus side, I get the whole area to myself. It's quite quiet, it's quite private, and as a mother of 3 boys, I'm quite enjoying the peace, to be honest. So that's what I've noticed. Yeah, so I'll show you around and let you know what I have been up to this last week, in between the sort of snow and frost. Okay, so what have I been up to this week? So as you remember, I found some perspex and was hoping to build a cold frame. I mean, I felt like I did really well because I managed to use mostly gifted wood. I did buy some 3x2 strips. Unfortunately, after spending the best part of a day building, as you can see, like a hinge lid here, as you can see, I spent, you know, I built a proper hinge system there that exactly the size of the pallet collar. What happened was, with the storm and the wind, my perspex got blown up and did in fact break. So it kind of defeated the purpose of all the time I'd spent building a sort of bespoke frame for that. It just needs screwing down now. But I think what I might do is either just put a strip of wood across the crack. I know it's got tape, but I don't think that's going to last. Or I might use some of the other, if I just spin round, some of the other perspex that's behind me, and basically have a divide on the cold frame lid, so I can have 2 halves of perspex and then some wood supporting in the middle. However, as I've been clearing out more behind the sheds, it's like a TARDIS behind there. I have now found a piece of, looks like a sort of either an old window or an old car window. So I'm thinking that might be better. I mean, what's your advice? I would think that you're going to get more sunlight through natural glass than you would through perspex, so it might work better in that sense. But let me know your advice, or if you've got any ideas for that. As you can see, it's quite windy here, so the amount of times I've had to pick up the weed membrane, I found that bricks are like gold dust on allotments. They're like, you know, the sort of treasure, and even though I have put bricks, it's such a big area that it seems to get blown up. I have bought pegs, sort of like metal staples that go through the weed membrane, but the wind seems to be stronger either than that, so I'm going to have to rethink that one. What else have I been doing? Let me just turn the camera around. Okay, so I have covered over this large bed here that I dug over and got quite a lot of bindweed out of. Covered that for now with some of the cardboard that I found at IKEA. Again, as I said last time, IKEA's great. You get big strong pieces of cardboard that are all in one, so no gaps for sort of the weeds to poke through, I guess, come spring. Yeah, one of my favourite jobs this week has been reclaiming the wildlife pond. So I had that topped up. I brought a few sandstones that I had lying about at home. I'm hoping to get some more of those. I find that these rockery stones are often quite given away for free on sort of Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace and things. So that's a really good resource for that, because I really try to reuse as much as possible. That's the whole point of, I feel, of having my allotment. So yeah, so that's looking quite neat now. Still quite a lot of sort of the irises and vegetation in there, but I've sort of purposely kept quite a lot of that, because at the end of the day it's a wildlife pond. It's supposed to be for wildlife, I guess, but also for anything that, you know, wants to make a home there, and it's not supposed to be clean and tidy, I guess, really. So probably need to sort of make the steps a bit more obvious in case something does want to use that pond when it turns warmer, so that they can get easily in and out. Having 3 boards, I really think that's going to be a matter of attraction for them, because I don't know about any allotmenters that are watching that have children, but trying to get them motivated and excited about it is often quite difficult. So I've cleared this area, which was I think originally they wanted it to be a compost bin, but I don't think that was going to work very well, because it's very shaded with the trees and that wall. So obviously I moved the compost bin to the side, as I showed you last time. So clearing that area, and my idea is, with some pallets, I'm going to build a bench over there, because from that direction you can get a really good view of down the allotment, and also just sort of between those high-rise blocks of flats that's where the sun tends to set. So if I'm here sort of next spring, summertime, early evening or late evening even by then, it'll be really nice to sit and sort of take in that sunset. So that's my plan with that. All around the tree now I've tidied up. I've pruned the apple tree back. I did note when I got here that was fruiting really well, so I'm a bit concerned that I may have hampered that, but it did need a good prune. I've sort of mulched around it with compost, and under the ground, obviously there's nothing much to see, but I've planted dozens and dozens of spring bulbs. I purposely picked things that would be okay under the shade of the tree, so sort of put the more sun-loving bulbs further out, and things that will tolerate the shade underneath. I think I planted crocuses, I've planted hyacinths, I've planted daffodils, some tulips, some anemones, if I'm pronouncing them right. So yeah, so they're all under there, sort of around this side of the pond and under the tree. If I can just look over here, I have planted French lavender, which I was a bit worried about with the frost and the cold, but it did say it was winter hardy down to -15, so it should really tolerate our British winters. Next to that is some marjoram. Now that was gifted to me by a plot holder a couple of weeks ago, the last time I really saw anyone here properly, blowing in the wind there. But I'm not sure if that is going to, if lavender and marjoram are friends, but there isn't really anywhere else I wanted to put it, because although I've got a lot of space, I don't want to plant things and then realise actually it's taking space off a vegetable bed, because ultimately I want to grow, you know, as much vegetables as I can next year. So I planted that there, and we'll see how that goes. As you can see, my leaf storage didn't survive the wind. I'm going to pick that up, but I think I might just be storing the leaves, and as much leaves as I can get this week, into sort of some strong black bags, and then I'm just going to pop them behind the shed and forget about them, and hopefully have some leaf mould in a year or so. The plants I planted are still doing really well, really nice pop of colour. Did have a really lovely yellow rose actually, which is really surprising for sort of start of December, but it's didn't survive the recent frost, although there are still some buds. It's amazing really how sort of sporadic and inconsistent the temperature has been, and what that's done to sort of plants like that. With my pallet compost bin, I have made some I have made some alterations. So what I've done is I have put in some small bits of timber that were just lying around, put in some planks from the pallets sort of vertically, and then what that allows me to do, if I just walk over here, so what that allows me to do is to sort of remove these, go in and out, which means that not only will it protect the smell, but it will also I can also remove them when I want to sort of rake out hopefully the good compost stuff that I'll get eventually. Starting to fill that up, as you can see. Now I do have tons and tons, you can see right in this corner if I zoom in, I do have tons and tons of things that were stripped down when I originally got the pot. Wasn't sure what to do with them, but I'm definitely going to drown them in some of the spare buckets that were behind the shed, because I don't know it's really very difficult to know what's a perennial weed and what's compostable in that, and I really don't want to be just burning things that can be reused and repurposed. So I'm going to sort of drown it in sort of the storage buckets that I've got here. I'm going to drown them in batches for a couple of weeks, and then eventually sort of top up that compost bin so that it can be reused. And I believe that the water that I get from drowning them will actually work as a fertiliser, probably for some of my spring plants. So yeah, I think that's a plan, definitely. So it's very cold here and windy, so that is really what I've been up to this week. So thank you for listening to my update. This is me, the Lottie Lady. 1 month on from getting my plot. If you'd like to continue to follow my journey, then please subscribe. But until then, I'll see you next time. Thank you.